From Super League to Olympic distance to age group world records to Kona. Go longer with the right fuel at the right time with SFuels.
This is a phenomenal bike ride, and I can tell you he's so casual. This is his first time he's ever biked the full 112 miles here in Hawaii. He's never been up to the turn in Harvey. He's certainly been up there today. Doesn't he look...
Hey everybody, welcome to Championship Edition of Breakfast with Bob from beautiful St. George. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand. HOKA, Let's Fly, SFuels, Go Longer, Biostarks.com. Use the code BWB10 for 10% discount. Quintanaroo, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zion's Bank, Premium Plus Sports, and our Challenged Athletes Foundation. She was second yesterday. Great race. Paula Findlay joins us. Paula, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Have you warmed up?
Yeah. It was cold for the first half, but the run was actually quite pleasant.
I mean, you're Canadian, right? This wasn't...
Well, it's what everyone says, but it was genuinely cold.
It was cold, right?
Yeah.
We were just talking to Emma, and she had two gloves, but she could only get one on because she was so cold.
Yeah, I had like these Castelli gloves that have a zipper, so it was really easy to slide them in. I did a lot of practicing with different jackets and trying to figure out the fastest way, but ultimately there was a bit of a balance between, yes, you lost time in transition to put things on, but I think ultimately it was worth it.
Well, if you look at Taylor, she like put her socks on, put
her
gloves
jacket,
on,
everything.
Jacket, toweled off.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's so freaking cold out there when you get out of the water. 25-degree difference between air and water.
Yeah, it was honestly, it felt like a ski day. Like I've done lots of skiing in my life, and that feeling when your face hurts and you're just like shivering, and it's mostly scary going downhill because you lose control a bit of your body when you're shivering like that. But I was just super glad for all the climbs. I was kind of like living for the uphills so that I could push some watts and warm up. So yeah.
When we're watching, and we're about mile 5, and I think you guys have been together, but it was you, Flora, and Lucy seemed to be together for a big chunk. That's a pretty cool group. You got the gold medalist, you got the defending 70.3 world champion who's finished 4th in Kona 4 times, and here you are right with those guys. And did you have a thought, okay, I should probably not let this come down to a sprint? I got Flora Duffy
for the
here.
run.
Yeah. Oh, you were together on the bike as well.
Yeah. Well, for the run, I assumed I would be 4th. And
you did?
Yeah, I was like, there's little chance that I'm outrunning Flora and Lucy. I just have so much respect for them.
Yes.
And I've watched them both race many times from a spectator's point of view. And it's pretty incredible what they've accomplished in their careers. So you never know on a given day. And I think everyone's at a different point in their careers with injuries. And Flora won the medal last year. So you never know. But I think... I just had good legs on the day.
You had really good legs on the day. And then at the same time, here comes Emma Pallant-Brown sort of storming up. So you could have sat there with Lucy and Flora and gone, okay, I think I can sprint these guys. Or you could try to get away because people are coming from behind. Well,
I never really tried to get away. I more just like stayed the same speed and they dropped off. So that was good because I didn't feel like I had a huge other gear, but I've done a lot of tempo runs over the last month, up and down a similar grade to the diagonal highway here, and I just feel really good running uphill actually. So that's where I was able to put a bit of a gap on Flora on the second lap, and she was really pushing the pace on the downhill, so I had to really force myself to run quicker than was comfortable to stay with her, and then as soon as we got to the uphill, I was able to use that to my advantage.
Being healthy is really, when you talk about Paula Findlay over the years, that's the key, right? Being healthy so you can go in the race knowing I've done the run block that I needed to do. Yeah. Because that's always tough to be healthy.
Yeah, for me it's been a struggle over the last 10 years and stress fractures and different things, but it's a thing every athlete deals with, but I feel like I've had my fair share.
You've had your share.
And you're right. If I can get consistent running, we saw in Daytona I had a good race, and then here consistent running all year. I don't take that for granted at all. And it's not like I'm doing crazy run mileage. It's fairly conservative for most triathletes, I'd say, but that's what I have to do to be able to just keep running. And the blessing in disguise of my run injuries is my bike has been able to get stronger. So when I can put them all three together for a significant amount of time, I can have a result like yesterday.
Well, and when I look at this year, you know, third at Collins Cup, third fast time there, but the Canadian Open, when you were able to race in front of your hometown in Edmonton and get second place there to Ashley and lead for a big chunk of that day, and every corner you went around, everywhere you go, it's people you know from your childhood, people who've been supporting you forever. That had to be really special.
Yeah, it was very cool. And I thought that would be the highlight of my year.
Absolutely.
I think this might beat it a little bit, but both races were really cool. And I think that this year has really solidified to myself that I'm good on the bike. And that's one of my
really good on the bike.
strengths. And I think like, when you believe something is going to happen, you kind of force it to happen. Like in this race, I'm like, okay, I need to get to the front of the race.
Right.
And I just made it happen, and it happened. So it's a bit of a mindset thing, I think, at this point. And obviously there's like some physical ability and training, but for me, a lot of racing comes down to confidence and headspace. And I've been happy and healthy and believe in myself this year. So.
Well, you just seem really comfortable in your own skin. It's just
well, yeah,
you do.
I don't know.
You just feel very confident.
Yeah.
You know that you're front pack at all three. There's really no reason that there's really no reason you can't win and be podium for any race you go to start line for. When you're healthy.
Yeah, it looks like that on paper, but it like I said, the mental part is a lot. And sometimes I'm like, I don't believe that I could do that, but on paper I should be able to. So it takes a while to build that confidence, and I'm slowly getting it back. So.
So when you're running and you, like I said, you've got Flora and Lucy, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, fourth is okay. And then all of a sudden you look, I don't know if you look back as a runner, most times you don't, but there had to be a point where you go, oh, they're behind me a little bit.
Yeah. You can hear them breathing. And I remember this of my ITU days when I was really fit, and I could hear Helen Jenkins and Andrea Hewitt, and I could hear them breathing around me and thinking they're working harder than me. I can hear it.
Yes.
And I felt a little bit like that yesterday. Like I could hear Flora breathing, and I don't know, I just in my mind thought, I think I'm in control. Like I'm pretty sure I'm comfortable, but you never know over a length of this distance.
No.
So when I stopped hearing their footsteps, I knew I had a bit of a gap, and I didn't look back, but people were telling me the distance was growing, and there's a few out and backs on the course where you can actually see
what's
especially
going on.
in the golf course. So that's where I gain momentum and, confidence when I am building a gap, and I go even faster. So it kind of just like escalated.
Yeah. It was fascinating because most of the women were around 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2:21 for the bike. And then Taylor Knibb is like 2:14. Right?
I don't want to think about that. I don't even know how I would ever close that big of a gap in my career. But yeah, she's incredible.
Well, but that's I don't call it nicing, but the nice thing is you did what you could do on that day, and she just had one of those races where you tip your hat and go, "Oh my God, 2:14." You follow that up with with the run that she had, and being on Lucy's feet during the swim. That's a pretty good day.
Well, Taylor Knibb, I thought before this race, there's no one that can beat her unless she has a flat or something.
Right.
So not that I was counting myself out from the win, but the way that she races this distance is incredible, and she's come back from an injury really strong on all three disciplines. So a lot of respect for her, and I didn't anticipate I'd see her all day. So
the funny part is we were just talking to Eva Pell, and she saw Taylor at her first 70.3, which is Boulder. You said she had like 10 gels glued to the top.
Yeah, you've slowly watched Taylor become more and more dialed with her TT bike, and it's cool because like she didn't have a TT bike then, so that was all she had, and she rode it insanely well, and now she's has a TT helmet, the whole thing. So she's getting faster.
I think one of the nice things about what PTO has done by upping the ante and having $1 million prize purses, I just feel that the athletes, male and female, can feel more comfortable that, okay, I'm in a profession now, I can make a living here. And people always get along in this sport because at the end of the day, it's you against yourself and you against the course. But there just seems to be a great camaraderie among the women that I think has come along in the last couple of years, because before you went to a 70.3 race and it's 5K or whatever the money is, and if you didn't get first, second, or third, you got nothing. Where I think PTO has changed a lot of that.
Yeah, we're all making better livings for sure.
Right.
And I've felt more this year than any year the camaraderie that you're talking about.
Yeah, don't you think?
Really good friends with like most people in the top 10.
Yes.
And it's cool because I feel like I'm racing my friends, and every person I saw crossing the line, I wanted to go give them a hug. And you know, it's really, really cool. We're staying with Holly Lawrence, good friends with Jackie, good friends with Flora. So
yes. The
whole thing, it like is gonna make me cry, but it's really a nice group of women that we have racing this year.
And we posted a photo last night of Flora finishing. Obviously, her back was frozen.
She had a bit of a back thing.
And it was you and Taylor helping her down that ramp. And I think in a lot of other sports, maybe track and field, so I don't think that stuff's happening.
Maybe they don't know each other as well, but yeah, I've known Flora for a decade now.
Well, you've raced her
together.
at ITU races, right?
Yeah.
She's been in she was in 4 Olympics.
Yeah.
So you cross paths with all these women over the last. People think Paula just came into being when she beat Lucy at Daytona, and they don't realize that there's a decade.
I raced at ITU a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
So you raced her a ton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we trained together, raced together, and so that's why you feel like, oh, there's my friend crossing the line. Of course, I'm going to go say good job to her. So, yeah, and even on the course, you have that feeling. Like, obviously, we're very competitive, but every time I, passed a friend, I'd, get on it, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. One funny story, so Lucy was as hypothermic as everybody else was yesterday. She said she tried to yell to Holly, hey, let's move.
Yeah.
And because she was so cold, it came out,
couldn't even form sentences.
And after the race, Holly's like, were you yelling at me?
Yeah.
No, I was trying to let's go. But it was.
And we're not used to racing in weather like this.
Right?
I think everyone prepares all year for the heat and the hot races and heat training and living in hot places. And then you come to this all of a sudden and it's shocking. But I think we all dealt with it okay. We all made it safely to the finish line.
Exactly. That's all that matters. And what's next for you? Do you guys get a little off season?
I think I'm going to race Challenge Daytona. I really like Daytona.
Daytona's the best. Well, you look at those 2 huge races that you had there. Really,
the course suits me a lot, and
those made you an overnight success, right? It's like people didn't know about your decade before, but that race against Lucy, and then the following year, everybody's going, okay, well, it's the Daytona race, but last year Paula didn't face all these other women. Well, you faced them, and then you beat them, and it was $1 million prize purse.
Yeah, that was cool. So I have good memories there. It's always nice to go back to a race where you have good memories, and it's hard to imagine training hard for another 4 weeks, but we'll see. I'm hoping I can kind of ride this fitness through to then and just do what I can do on the day, and it's obviously a little more less stressful than this was.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So it's a little more for fun. But
I love it.
Yeah, I love racing, and then after that I can take Christmas as an off season. And Eric's on the course right now. He's having a rough day, unfortunately.
Yes.
But we're going to go cheer for him and then hopefully be in a good mood.
Thank you for squeezing us in between.
My pleasure. No, it's always good to talk. I was like, I got to be on the podium so I could talk with Bob after the race. That was my goal.
I always love chatting with you, Paula.
Thank you, Bob.
Paula Findlay, the absolute best. But thanks again for tuning in. Championship Edition. We will be right back.